ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the movie American Gangster. But, of course, before we get to any of that, I'm joined today by unmarked Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I'm unmarked Nathaniel. I'm untraceable by the government. Yeah, you cannot. Were I to be split up and divided, you would not be able to find me.
Easily launderable. Spend it wherever you please.
I'm common. If I was loot in a video game, I would be gray.
Yeah. Well, you know what? At least you're self-aware.
Was that a no pun intended with Common Dean in the movie?
That was indeed actually a suspicious amount of rap royalty in this movie overall.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we maybe get to a bit of sizzle overall.
Yeah.
But that's me. I'm unmarked.
Well, welcome.
Thanks.
Good to have you here.
Good
Glad
to
you
be
found
here.
your way back. Yeah. Also joining us today is Turkey Ty, Tyler Verdalis.
What up?
Surprising amount of turkeys in this movie.
Oh, turkey.
Turkey. What'd you think I said?
Tricky.
Oh, no. Turkey.
Yeah, there is
turkey
a
like the bird.
couple 2-tree turkeys.
There's quite a few. More than I expected going to this movie.
And we're not just talking about Josh Brolin. I don't know what that means. It was just.
What does he have to do with turkeys?
He's a turkey. I don't know. He looks like he could play.
Okay.
He looks like he could play a good turkey. Out of anyone,
in an animated film, maybe.
If anyone in this class needed to be a turkey, going for Josh Brolin.
Okay.
I don't know,
All right.
man. I just said something, and
I don't
now
know how we
I'm
got
trying
here.
to dig my way out of it. I don't know what's happening.
It's okay.
Help me. Help
Yeah.
me get out of this hole I put myself in. Don't
I'm
fucking
begging.
bury me.
I'm begging.
Lassie, did Nathaniel fall down the well? Oh, jeez. Routing out the squadron here is Big Bust BlakeHolder.
Hey, what up?
Is that
Blake.
is that a leftover from last week?
Go ahead.
Napoleon Dynamite, big bust.
No, bust. Like they busted him.
Oh, like a drug bust. Okay,
yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah,
of Bust
like a
Must
drug
Plus. From like, I'm gonna.
You know what? I don't blame you. But we are no longer reviewing Napoleon Dynamite. That was in fact last week. I can go ahead and give my review now since I missed it.
No, we covered it, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Mostly.
I'm gonna take a little time
what's going
out.
on, Blake?
Yeah, you talk to Blake.
Okay.
Yeah,
What's going
man.
on, Blake?
Not much, man. Holding on. Holding on. I've slowly came to the acceptance of that Ravens loss, right, man? So watched a lot of stuff on YouTube about it. Watched a handful of all 22 films. And yeah, man, I've never been the one to say sports are rigged, right? I've always been a big advocate of going against it forever. And now that it's not favorable for my team, I now had some thoughts of that. Which is embarrassing of me to admit.
You know what? At least you're honest about it.
Yeah, but man, watching some of the film, it was like, man, I don't get it, man. I don't know.
I
Ran the
have
ball
seen
six
some
times,
calls. Yeah.
and they're the best running team in the league. It just wrong. I think they averaged 30-something carries a game. They ran it 6 times, fellas. I don't know. Somebody's got to answer it.
How
Nonetheless,
is that possible? How do they
I'm
change
doing
up
all right.
their game plan that late in the
I don't know,
season
man.
after being so successful? Why?
I don't know. So yeah, I don't think it's rigged. I think people just outsmart themselves every day and try to switch it up, catch people off guard, and
That's documented. I feel like that is a known thing.
Yep. So yeah, man. But for shits and giggles, I'm going with it's rigged. So
you know what? Hey, whatever helps you cope, dude.
Whatever.
For sure.
I've reviewed the evidence. I've seen all I need to see, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna deal with this logically.
It's fake.
It is
WWE.
Yeah, it might as well be, honestly.
Known quantity.
Yeah.
Justin,
Blake,
Rob, and I were just having this conversation.
All good.
But sorry, go ahead.
what conversation? The WWE?
No. Just about sports being rigged.
Yeah. Well,
Justin thinks it's like actually impossible for it to happen.
I'm like here's one thing I will say. Like a week or so ago, with our new Xfinity package, we got Peacock, we got the cock, and so like I had to check to make sure it was working. So like the first thing was on there was the Royal Rumble.
You had to check and make sure the cock was working.
I had to make sure that the cock was logged in and working with our new Xfinity package.
Right.
Naturally.
And so I see the Royal Rumble is on, right? From WWE. Now I've never really watched the WWE overall.
Buckle up.
Turned it on. It's an amazing thing to actually see. I mean, it is genuinely impressive. But like just watching it, having watched a zillion real quote unquote fights versus seeing the wrestling, which is predetermined in some ways.
Performative.
Yeah, performative, we'll say. You know, kayfabe's real, but like there is 0% chance that that those fights are like, you could just tell if they were trying to fake real sports. There's no way.
I agree.
Well,
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Now the refs, they could be in on it.
I was about to say the refs, man. The refs is where it's like that's a closer knit group where you could keep some things under wraps. I also think it's suspicious, and this was known going into the game, that the NFL assigned the ref who gives the most penalties to the home team.
All right. Now hear me out here. Galaxy Brain, Amazon is trying to is pushing this narrative because they want robo refs.
They want what refs?
Robo AI Amazon based
robo refs.
Oh, robo. I thought you said
real. We're too far from that in sports, though.
No, within 5 years there will be some major league that's like, we're using
baseball
AI.
Is probably the first one.
We're using AI to now call the strikes. Like it'll happen.
Yep.
It's gonna be
baseball,
bullshit.
I mean, they already have it in the minor leagues. I think I don't know what league it is.
See, I don't agree with this. We're off topic early.
Baseball, it's working its way up to the MLB. It's gonna be here sooner rather than later. It's okay. This is the intro. This is where we can be off topic. But let's get on topic,
real
ladies
quick,
and gentlemen.
While we're off topic.
You go ahead. No, you're good. Go ahead. We've got time.
Sorry for the delay on this one. I think it's a Discord delay on that.
No, you're good.
Wi-Fi.
The hotel Wi-Fi is holding you up a little bit.
Quick spiel while we're off topic. So last week we introduced the topic of fighting some sort of animals and like can we survive with them, right? So I've come across another one.
All right.
Thanks to the Reddit gods out there. So
we have a minute to answer
the hypothetical that they gave up in Reddit. Facts. Hypothetical they gave up. You're in a mall, all doors are locked, right? Can't escape.
I've heard this one.
You're trapped in there with two sets of animals. One of them, I believe it was 10 cobras, like the snake.
All right.
Or one gorilla, silverback gorilla.
Okay.
Which one are you taking your odds with? You got to last 24 hours.
24 hours? And it's a mall.
24 hours. It's a mall. Maybe not Woodfield, right? We got to scale things down.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say.
That's too large of a mall, right?
That's
you probably have to do some sort of smaller mall that you'd see in.
Honestly, like I think
suburb of Philadelphia.
I think either one. I think I could be okay. Like malls are big, man, and it's a single one versus 10. Like I don't think the Cobras are coming after me.
Hours?
I don't think I'm gonna go to a JCPenney's and I'm gonna sit on a mattress for 24 hours. Like
I'm gonna hide in the changing room.
Right. Like
so honestly, maybe silverback because I can kind of hide.
It's
in
just
the changing
one
room
versus 10.
Probably not gonna find me.
Yeah. What? Sorry. What is it we were facing? I missed it. One silverback or how many snakes?
10 snakes.
10 cobras.
10 cobras.
But the catch is they are actively hunting, right?
Oh,
so it's
okay.
not like
So
they're just in there.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So
All
they
right.
have a mission.
I should have clarified that.
I was gonna say, I thought they're not gonna like come looking for me. Okay, 10 cobras or one.
I think I'm still taking a cobra.
You think?
Or 10 cobras.
10 cobra.
Yeah, think of just the sheer thought process advantage you have over a cobra. It doesn't have arms. It doesn't have thumbs. Can't open doors. Like, yeah, it can maybe get up walls and, you know, stuff like that. But you have a significant advantage over cobras.
It's basically got
you would over something that has learning abilities, has patterns to make things that will physically help it, is significantly stronger than you, can open doors.
Yeah.
Like, there's absolutely no way you're actively hiding from a fucking silverback.
You're
that
saying
thing will run through a fucking wall.
You're saying a human's
for sure.
A human's physical and mental advantages over a cobra outweigh
100%.
What a silverback.
And although cobras are
that's a good
fast,
point.
You can dodge their strikes.
Yeah.
True.
But
and
if
you can one tap.
You know, you're gonna fucking right. Like, you know, just
right. You can kill a cobra. You're not killing a gorilla. Like
100%.
Right.
What if I drop something on it?
The
That's
gorilla?
true. Is this like a fully stocked mall? Is there a Cabela's here?
Right.
Can I get a
right? Now we're talking.
Or is there like
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Is there
like
an
abandoned
Sears?
mall?
Do I get a chainsaw? Like
See, those things still all have significant advantages over a snake than they would a fucking silverback.
Yeah, no, I'm with you now. I'm with you, but I'm just saying it's
for sure.
You might not be as fucked as you think you are. Now, if it was like a Walgreens,
I think you're fucked with the gorilla, bro.
I'm not surviving against either of those in a Walgreens, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
How big do we have to go?
Spiel for this week, man. Tune in.
All right.
How big of a scale do we need to go here? Could you do like you could go like Walgreens, Walmart, Costco, mall? Like where? At what's the point of survivability here?
Oh, let's go here. I mean, Best Buy 305.
Could you survive on one night in 305 with
10 cobras in there?
10 cobras?
No, not 10. Not 10 cobras. No.
No, you totally could.
You could probably do it.
100% you could. You could just climb to the roof.
Oh, that's cheating. Roof is locked. Roof is locked.
So you can still climb the ladder. Like you could just, or you could take Big Joe up to one of the top of the dealie.
No, Big Joe, no ladder.
What are you doing to me here, man? I got this. No, I'm surviving. I got 305 on lock. I'm fine.
You're taking the high hide.
Taking the high hide.
This is where Nathaniel reveals he still has his secret gun hidden somewhere in 305.
Secret gun? I don't know. That's a
yeah. Did you hide a gun somewhere in 305?
Listen, I can neither confirm nor deny.
I mean, it's fine if you did. I'm not mad about it. I understand. You never know what could happen these days. People shooting up a lot of different places.
So I was AP there for a bit.
That's a valid point.
Well, speaking of shooting up, American Gangster.
American Gangster. Good segue there, Blake. Appreciate that. Welcome, listeners, of course, to our main review segment of the podcast. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new or perhaps they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how our review segment works?
What up, folks? If you're new or maybe you've just forgotten how the rundown works here on Back Row, how the review segment works here on Back Row Banter is it is split into two sections. There is the non-spoiler section. Then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go around the squadron and decide if we would recommend this movie. Got to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. We'll go over its IMDb page, who wrote it, who directed it, who's in it, all that good stuff. Get the summary, and then we'll go into spoiler time. If you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, you can check out the show notes where we will have marked off sections. What's the word I'm looking for?
Timestamps.
Timestamps. Thank you. Timestamps in the show notes.
Stamps in time.
No. we will have them marked off.
Marked off sections, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna have caution tape around those areas.
Yep.
When
red velvet around others. VIP
you are
segment.
not supposed to be there.
I will.
So we'll look out for those. We'll have those marked off in the description down below.
I'll also have an alert sound playing on the thing. We do have a spoiler noise, just so you don't end up there if you don't want to have anything to do with spoilers. And then do come back, though, and see where we rank it on our entropy list and the rest of the episode. Adam, tell me about American Gangster.
I would love to. This is not a new movie. This was released, of course, in the year 2007. What a great year that was. You know what came out in 2007?
Was that our...
Iron Man?
No, that's 08.
2008. Close.
Is that No Country for Old Men?
I'm thinking video games. It might have been, actually, yes.
Ooh.
I don't know for sure on that.
Yeah, I think you are right. Video games. Is that the second Halo? Third Halo?
Third. Halo 3. There's another one I'm thinking of. That was one of them. There's two that I was thinking of.
Oh, Modern Warfare.
COD 4. Oh my God, Blake. Thank you. Let's go.
Hey,
did we just become a gaming podcast?
Yeah,
right
we did just transition. Yes, we did. COD 4 and Halo 3, two of the greatest games of all time. Both came out in 2007. What a great year.
Not for platformers.
Great year for gaming. I think Gears of War might have been the same year.
I think you might be right, man. And it took me a minute to get the COD one, but then I was like, wait a minute. That's COD 4.
No, wasn't that when they were going opposite years?
Oh, that was 06.
No, the first Gears one's 05.
They were
06.
They were flip-flopping Gears and Halo there for a few years.
They were. Anyway, this movie also released in 2007. It's rated R with a runtime of 2 hours and 37 minutes and an IMDb rating of 7.8 out of 10. Before I get into any more of this movie, I should also bring up, this is our Black History Month movie, as we've now has become pretty much tradition on the podcast. At least one, if not more. Kind of Black culture films surrounding Black culture during Black History Month, hand selected by Blake himself. Blake, what made you pick this movie?
Yeah, I was kind of going down a list of things to see what we can get on there. Then I think ultimately it came down to just getting some more Denzel. Where we've got Training Day on here, which is awesome. Yeah, so I was kind of going through, and originally we would do some other things, but then I turned on HBO, or Max, I should say, pardon me. And I seen American Gangster, and I was like, ooh, I think this should be one. I've only seen this one time prior to this, and that was in probably, I'd say, high school. Right. I want to say sat down with like my dad, watched in the basement one day. So I was like, I need to get back around to it, because there's a few scenes that are always prominent in pop culture that I always see. There's a scene in here that I always quote. I'm sure you guys probably pick up on which one it is. But yeah, so I was like, let's go ahead and put American Gangster on there. I think it'll do well. So great cast too, and people I forget who are in this film until I watched it again. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely has a pretty good cast. Let's see here what's next. Directed by Ridley Scott, who, you've probably heard of him. But it's written by Steven Zalian, and Mark Jacobson. Steven, I was looking at his IMDb. Man, he's got a lot of good writing credits. Let's see, Schindler's List, the original Mission Impossible, Gangs of New York, All the King's Men, this movie, of course. Then he followed this up with Moneyball, and then The Irishman is one of his more recent ones.
Couple Marty joints in there.
Yeah, a couple of them. Yeah, he's got a bunch of solid movies. So good writer apparently. Killing it over there, Mr. Zalian. I think it's Zalian. I don't know. Zallian. I don't know. But
say it again.
Could go a few different ways.
Zallian. Yeah, I think Zalian. We'll go with that.
Zalian. Yeah. Anyway.
In Zalian and the Membralian.
There you The cast includes, of course, as we mentioned, Denzel Washington is one of our main characters. The other main character, Russell Crowe. And this is already off to a great start. We're 2 characters down. Let's just get to the main names people would recognize here. Josh Brolin is also here. I'm gonna try to RZA. RZA's here, Nathaniel. The namesake. I hadn't scrolled that far down yet, but yes, T.I. is here.
Common.
T.I. is the one I always forget.
See, T.I. is the one I always remember because he plays baseball.
I always forget that shit. That makes sense too, and I always forget. So that dinner table scene, I was like, "Oh shit, T.I. is in this." Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Adam.
No, you're good. You're good. Common is here, another rapper. We have Cuba Gooding Jr. returning to the podcast. Yeah. It's been a while since he was here.
It's been a while.
Okay, I need to stop saying that. Like clockwork. You know what? You're nothing if not consistent with that.
It's becoming
Tyler,
a meme
I've got to give
point.
you.
Yeah,
I've got to give you props, dude. I think that's pretty much the main people. Who am I missing? I feel like I got people.
Carla.
I can't have her name off the top of my head. Carla something.
Yeah, Carla Gugino.
Carla Gugino. Yep,
yeah.
That's her. Yeah. Yeah. Any other big characters I'm missing?
Oh, John Hawkes, my boy, John Hawkes, who's Detective Spearman.
Oh yes,
on there as well too. Love that guy in anything that he's in.
Which
currently in new True Detective.
Did you say Idris Elba?
Yeah, Idris is also in here for a little bit.
And then Norman Reedus for a quick second.
Yeah, he was in there for a weird minute.
I totally forgot about.
This is post Boondock Saints.
Hey, what's
Norman Reedus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
pre-Walking Dead.
Probably just pre-Walking Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been. I think. What was that, Blake?
Yeah, Walking Dead was 2011, 2010.
What's I forgot. It may be John Hawkes, but I'm not entirely sure. But what's my guy? He's in the Blade movie, and I forgot he was in this too. He plays one of he's on the police force. But he's effectively he plays the in the first Blade. Fuck man, I'm having a hard time describing. He plays the guy who's he's in with the vampires, so he plays like he's in Blade's camp.
Okay,
and he's actually in with the vampires, and he's the one who kidnaps Whistler.
Oh no, I don't think that's him. I think that's Jay.
That's not him.
Maybe I don't know. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Hang on. Okay. Yeah, give me 1 second.
Also, yeah, Chiwetel Ejiofor is in here as well too.
Who is?
Chiwetel Ejiofor, the brother, Huey.
Okay. Oh yes. I did recognize that guy. Right, 12 Years a Slave. What else has this guy been in? Doctor Strange. Yeah, he was
Norman Reedus.
Strange.
Yeah,
Norman.
Yeah.
Oh, did we already say Norman Reedus?
We did. Yeah.
That's
okay.
What I was just talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you never watched Walking Dead, where he is a huge character now.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, see, yeah, I only know him from. I haven't watched the Walking Dead. I've only know him from Blade and Pandorum.
Well, and Boondock Saints.
That's funny. Yeah,
which is what we were talking about. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Symbology.
Did we say John Ortiz, who plays Braga in Fast 6?
No, but that is a good point. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
he's
then
Russell Crowe's first partner.
We could talk about the fact that like his Russell Crowe's chief is Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs as well too.
Yeah.
Oh my
this
God,
cast is honestly nuts, and I didn't quite realize it until I watched it this time.
Oh yeah,
it's
gonna
go on, man.
It's incredible. It's a great cast. It's nuts.
Yeah. All right. Well, with all that casting reined in a little bit here, let's get to what the movie's all about. The IMDb summary reads as follows: An outcast New York City cop is charged with bringing down Harlem drug lord Frank Lucas, whose real life inspired this partly biographical film. Sure. I mean, yeah.
You got it.
How do you feel?
Good enough. Good enough. I mean, it's hard to summarize a 2.5 hour movie, but if you had to do it, I feel like it's pretty good. This is based on true events. I just finished this movie an hour ago, so I don't know how true those events are. I don't know how close this movie is to reality, but I'm sure there's some things that line up here, as there sometimes is, or most of the time is. I don't know what the hit rate is on movie adaptations, but you got to imagine there's going to be some things lining up. So, yeah, let's get on into it. This is my first watch. Blake, you mentioned this is a second watch, but it's been a while, so almost somewhat one of those that might be close to a new watch.
Yeah,
Nathaniel,
for sure.
Ty, have you guys seen this before?
I want to say I saw this in the year it came out, 2007, but I don't think I saw it in theaters. I think this was a blockbuster rental for the fam.
Of course.
Oh, okay.
One of the final few.
Could have been.
Before they went out of business. Yeah.
No, I think they might have been thriving in 07. I don't know. Don't think Connect.
I mean, I remember going to Blockbusters when I was younger. I've been in a Blockbuster or two in my time.
No, we were steady Blockbuster customers. Every Saturday or Friday or Saturday, we'd go out and get one. There was one.
It'd be like every Friday. Justin and I would get home from school. We'd literally just scour the house for fucking change.
Yep.
Only looking for big change, quarters only, really. And we would try and get enough money to rent a video game from some kind of video store for the weekend. And we'd be like, Dad, we got it. We fucking got it.
There wasn't.
Or it'd be like, we're short. Like, I promise I'll do something around the house. Like, please.
There wasn't one like at the end of our block, but it was like kind of like the end of our block, and then like maybe a half mile down the main street at the end of the corner. Really was like
half a mile.
Yeah, probably.
How big are your blocks?
Big. No, I said it was one block and then a half mile down the main street.
Oh, I see. So one block that way and then a half mile that way.
Not a city.
Correct.
It's way bigger.
Got it. My bad. I'm sorry. I don't know Desert Mile. I've never been to the desert.
It's okay. Yeah, it's an easy mistake. Happens to everyone.
Yeah.
There was like a convenience store, almost like strip mall
area.
Yeah. There was a Blockbuster in there. We would drive down there, ride our bikes down there every Saturday. Anyways, so much nostalgia. That was the last time I saw it, and I think that was the first time I saw it, and I haven't seen it since. So it's been, 17 years per rewatch. There we go.
Yeah. And you, Ty?
Yeah, I've seen this before for sure. I've seen this probably 3 or 4 times, somewhere in that mark. But yeah, always something that I've liked. Denzel was a pretty heavy hitter in some of my younger years. So same with like Russell Crowe, dude. Fucking Gladiator came out, and like that was like probably one of the movies that I could say like just really pushed a big spike in the Roman kind of timeline for me. To be more interested in.
Sure.
So, and like just Gladiators in general. I remember this video game Justin and I had. It was Gladiators, and you like have to like buy different gear, and it was like so cool at the time. And if you went back to it, I don't even know what game it was, but if you go back to it, probably looks like just absolute shit
ass.
now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like such a cool game. Love Gladiators, kind of like that stuff. Spartacus, obviously, I just got done rewatching. So,
but American Gangster.
Yeah, but American Gangster, dude, yeah, what a killer movie. This thing got such a big following, as it should. You really don't realize it in like your younger years that it's like a kind of an autobiography or a biopic. It's you just kind of see it, and it almost kind of plays out like an action movie sometimes, or it's it's just got a killer story behind it, and so you don't always realize when you're younger like this fucking actually happened.
Right.
And somewhat recently, given the the age of where we're at and how time moves. But
in a flat circle, obviously.
It does. Yeah, flat clicker. But yeah. Great. I did not see this in theaters, I don't think. Not that I can remember, but killer movie.
Blake.
Well, this is my first time. What are you gonna say for Blake?
I just asked Blake, was this your like one you've seen multiple times, or just from the first one, or did he already talk about that?
We already touched on it, but you can go ahead, Blake. You're good.
Yeah, I've seen it once. I want to say this is my second full viewing. I think I've seen pieces of it since my first viewing. My first viewing was not upon release, like 07. I want to say it was probably 09, 2010 or so. When I kind of sat down and talked with my dad. Then I always kind of went back to it, pop culture, go back to it. Yeah, but I mean, this is basically damn near a brand new watch for me. I haven't seen it like 15 years, right? So.
But it is a brand new watch for Adam. Look at that segue back over to you.
Wow, we came back around. Yes, this is my first watch. Finished it, as I said, a little over an hour ago. So we're fresh off the press here, still hot, still settling, still simmering. But overall, this is a good time. This is definitely a good movie. Denzel is great. Russell Crowe really, I shouldn't say surprised me, but this is still probably up there in terms of like the performances of his I've seen. So I really like this. It's somewhat similar to his The Other Guy's performance. I feel like in the similar vein, kind of in a similar similar
the
role.
Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys. I'm sorry, not The Other Guys. That's Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. The Nice Guys. Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. With the one with Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. Kind of similar performance to that. Yeah, pretty good movie. But yeah, other than the runtime, which like I can't not hark on, it just felt long to me because I came home from work and like knew we had to record tonight and had to watch that, and it was just fitting it in that time frame.
Trying to fit it in.
Yeah, exactly. So like it just was not an ideal time for me to watch a 2 hour and 40-minute movie. So like I say runtime more in that circumstance, like the circumstance I watched under really felt like it made the movie a lot longer than it probably actually was, or feels. Whereas like if I had watched this in a better setting or a better time, I probably wouldn't feel quite as much that way, because I think this is it's a very good story, but it does need to be told right. And I love how they do tell it, where it switches between the perspectives of the cop and of Frank Lucas, the drug lord. I do like how they tell that story. I like how they don't rush a lot. I feel like they could probably cut this down a little bit if they wanted to, but what they do include, what Ridley Scott does have here, none of it feels like it's like super unnecessary, where I'm never like, why are we doing this, or like can we move it along or anything like that. So it moves at a pretty good clip for what it is. But besides that, acting is phenomenal, as we've already touched on. The cast is great, up and down. Characters are really cool. Just a really good story all around, I would say. Well, good in the sense that like it's well told, not that I'm saying heroin dealers are good people. But it also portrays
You're not an advocate of destroying your community.
Correct. I am not an
bail out, man. I've been here before. You just gotta say, help me.
Help. No. But yeah. Overall, I would say I definitely enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend. This is one I don't feel like I hear about American Gangster being talked about a lot. You know, it's not like one I feel like I hear thrown around as like a movie that's like, hey, have you seen American Gangster? Like, it's not a movie like Gladiator that like everyone knows, you know?
And I think that's it for me to kind of take over from here. I will say this is like, I enjoy this movie, but I don't think it's one of my top Ridleys, my top Denzels, or my top Russells, to be honest with you. Like, I think it's a collection, like, kind of to what Blake was saying earlier. I think there's a ton of great scenes, but I'm not sure that, like, overall, like, the movie totally works for me, especially when, like, I'll talk about that a little bit more in spoilers. Like, I guess I'll save that for spoilers, but there's a couple things at the end that like made me think like there could have been more interesting parts of the movie that were to come. And also like because I think maybe the cast is so big and because we're splitting times between the two of them, it's more like we feel like, man, it's cool to really watch Denzel in this scene, and then it's cool to really watch Russell in this scene, but they don't meet until like 2 hours into the movie. And like even then, like it's almost like we're seeing two storylines that are too much separated before they actually come together and like really get us that satisfying ending. So I like the movie, but this is like the epitome of like a 3.5 out of 5 to me. I think is like the best way I could describe it. Like it is really good, but like at the end of the day, it's not one that I'm like, hey man, you guys gotta see this. It's like you've been watching Denzel, or like like Russell, have you checked out American Gangster? Because that's pretty cool too, you know.
That's very fair.
I gotcha.
But to kind of like Tyler's point as well too, I don't think I realized, or I think watching it now, I have a much better sense of like who the character of Frank Lucas is and like what he meant to that community at that time. And I think there's an extra depth there that like I definitely didn't get in 2007. But 100%. Like, watching it now, it is like I have a much better understanding of the man and like kind of what that would mean for the community, and like again how he kind of did it differently as well too, and kind of really can appreciate those but more.
Yeah, I think this movie is probably for all of us, it's a good solid movie. It's the only reason I think at the end of this discussion is when I don't think it's going to get buried in the list, but it's probably not going to go as high as it probably should. And I think this only suffers from the fact that we have realized that it's a biopic, and that's like at the end of the day, that's just like not really any of our genres. We all love those movies. We appreciate those movies. It's always cool to look back on them, like when we learn something new or get a bigger picture of like what history was or something we may have not have known, but it's not something that we look at the end of the day and we're like, I gotta fucking watch that movie again. And I think that's just where this is gonna suffer. I think that's where Nathaniel's 3.5 kind of comes from. Like, it is a good movie. It's a solid flick. Everybody's doing a killer job, but it's just not going to be something that we constantly feel like we have to go back to.
Yeah, no, I think that's very fair. And like Nathaniel said, it's more of a thing where it's like if you're stopping along to see all the Denzels, like this is just kind of one on your way. I think that's a very good way to put it. But yeah, it in general, I just feel like it is kind of missing a secret sauce almost. Like there's nothing that puts this one quite over the edge to like classic movie, or to like one where you have to like watch it along your way of like, film, whatever would you want to say, like film knowledge or discography or like your catalog of what you've seen.
Yeah.
This isn't a 100% necessary. Yeah, exactly. This isn't you're a 100% necessary stop anywhere,
Yeah, the only thing I will disagree is I think this does for me get the title of classic.
You think so?
And maybe it's just because of like where I saw it. Like I saw it at a much younger age than what you clearly saw it at.
Sure.
And so maybe just for me, it's just been around longer. So maybe that's why I would at least give this title like a classic. And I think at the time when this movie came out and still up until now, that it does still hold up as a good film. I think the plot is good.
No doubt.
I think, I think all those things are good enough to get into the classic realm. So I think this definitely gets classic. Like I said, this is only going to suffer for me from a likability standpoint because biopics are just not my genre that I just get excited about.
I think it's a movie that like would show up on a lot of people's like top 20 of 2000s like lists, of 2000s to 2010s, like and it'd be one of those like respectable, like, yep, that's a great choice feeling picks, you know. But it's just like, again, for me, it doesn't quite hit that same level overall, especially with Ridley. I mean, as I've been quoted on this own podcast, let Ridley cook. Let the man cook. And I think at certain points he definitely cooks with this one, you know? But it's just not quite over the hump for me to be an exuberant recommend, although it is a recommend overall.
Valid. All right, are we good on non-spoilers then here, gents?
I think so.
Cool.
What's the recommend? Sorry, did we just go through that?
I'm a recommend. Yeah, I think we kind of each said it on our own, but I am a recommend personally.
I will also be a recommend. Yeah.
Okay.
I am too.
I think we're recommends all around. Blake, I'm assuming, yeah.
Yeah, I'll recommend for sure.
Cool. Well then, yeah, if you have not seen American Gangster and do not want it spoiled for you, go ahead, check the episode description where I've left a timestamp. Sorry, I've left a marker. I've left a
time marker.
It was earlier. Time marker, yeah. Where you can jump over to or jump over the spoilers, where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie up upon our entry list.
Up upon.
Spoiler time, Nathaniel.
Shit goes down.
Was that the MLG sound horn?
It was a record scratch and then three air horns.
Oh, 3 air horns. All right, cool. Well, here we are, gentlemen. The year is 1969. Vietnam's in full swing, and so is the heroin epidemic, I guess.
Oh yeah, baby.
Okay, Nathaniel. I don't know if that's something
I was thinking.
Say, oh yeah, too.
I was thinking at the beginning of Argyle. I was mixing the two movies there, where it begins with Barry White, but
yeah, it's not this movie. It's not this movie. Yeah, I don't know. Where do you guys want to start?
At the beginning, I suppose.
Yeah, Bumpy Johnson gets knocked off, and then Frank Lucas decides to take over. And like any good, American in the late 1960s, early 1970s, he decides to cut out the middleman and go directly to the supplier, and that upsets the kind of established order of organized crime in New York and
the
New
order
Jersey.
Of operations. Everyone knows PEMDAS.
It's true.
and he's going epidemics. I don't know how to rearrange those letters off the top of my head.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, he's scrambling up how things are going.
You get it, folks. You know? And then you got Richie. I wanted to say Richie something. Russell Crowe, Richie Russell, on the other side is Johnny Law, and he's the only good, honest cop in New Jersey, and he's there to try and track down Frank Lucas, aka Denzel. And I'm going to say there's some parallels between the two of them, you could say. You know, you might say that they live similar lives. Almost two sides of the same coin.
A little opposite, though. Yeah. At
least the film wants you to think so, in the way that it's structured. Right. A lot of switching between the two of them. A lot of a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, to be honest with you, like I said, it's very interesting. We get to see kind of the rise and fall of Frank, and everything that comes with it.
Yeah, I do think it is interesting how the movie does draw parallels between the two. And I think it's interesting to see like their two stories, how they intertwine. I think they do pace out the two stories really well. We're like, I never feel like we're with one character too long before we're kind of back with the other. And so in that respect, I'm definitely always kind of engaged to like what the next thing I'm gonna watch is, and when it comes to like jumping back and forth between them.
Let me ask you this though: do you feel like, looking back on the movie, do you feel like one performance outweighs the other? Because I do.
I think Russell Crowe might have the crown here.
Really?
But
See,
do you
like,
think Denzel?
I feel like this movie's weighted way more towards Denzel as like the more interesting,
like the actual story. You mean?
yeah, exactly. More
Sure.
interesting, more like intriguing, more in some ways more sympathetic character between the two of them. You know.
I can agree with that. I do think the movie does lean on Denzel's character much more, in terms of like carrying the weight of the story, and it does feel like he is more of the lead than Russell Crowe is.
Sure.
However, I think with what Russell Crowe is given and what he does with it, that's kind of what stood out for me. Whereas I've seen Denzel not do this character, but like I've seen Denzel work before.
He is kind of at his most Denzel.
Right. Yeah, and he's pretty Denzel in this. But like compared to Training Day, like I still think that's a better performance. Like this for me is like something where I like Russell Crowe, seeing Russell Crowe in this kind of role. And I think he does a lot with what he's given. And like in terms of Denzel, he's given a lot and he handles it well because he's Denzel, but like that's kind of just what I expected out of him. So that's kind of how I came away looking at it. Again, fresh off this movie, so if you know, if I had some time to cool off, I could maybe reflect a little bit more on that. But that's kind of how I came off of it. Interesting way of moving heroin from Vietnam to the States. Pretty inventive guy.
Yeah, military, right? That's effectively what he was using.
Yep. Which like makes this movie kind of makes it make sense as to like, hey man, if I just slide some extra cash in your pocket, like why wouldn't you do this extra thing for me? Like who are you hurting?
Right.
You know, and like this movie does a good job of kind of showing you like that's very easy for cops just be like on the payroll of all these, you know, drug lords, and why wouldn't they want to be? You know, there's extra cash in their pocket, they get to turn their cheek, and it's a win-win for both sides except for the people who are getting dealt drugs. But this movie does a good job, I think, of showing you that kind of relationship.
Yeah,
that I don't think it's been kind of shown as well in other movies.
It's the thing too where like it ends and it's like Richie was Frank's defense attorney at one point during his like, and one of his first clients on there was Frank and everything, and it was just like, well, that's an interesting part of the story too. Like, why isn't this a film series or a special 8-part series on Netflix? I want to find out what happened longer with these two guys, you know. But I don't know. It just help me out here.
I don't know. You dug your hole. I don't know where the hole is though.
I was just saying. No, I was trying to say that it felt. We were talking about the relationship between the two of them, between Russell and Denzel, and I was saying that like it seems like there was more interesting stuff still to come, in some ways, and like you could have introduced them maybe together earlier in the film overall, if you were trying to get more of a balanced movie between the two of them. Otherwise, maybe it does still feel more like Frank's movie rather than Richie's, who just kind of like comes in at the end and makes us all feel good because Frank didn't get away with it or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I did have that same feeling at the end when they are sitting across the table from each other. And I was like, oh, this is kind of a big payoff. Like for 2.5 hours, we've seen these two work separately. And now they're finally on screen together. And they have like the conversation they have is very interesting, where they're passing that coffee cup back and forth. And he's trying to bribe him again to see if he can get out of it for $1 million bucks, like that kind of thing. So that's all very interesting. And what I don't know is like, I say I would love to see more of that, but also do I really need to see them going through lists of names and stuff like that?
Well,
I don't know what you add there to keep that kind of keep those two on screen and add to the story.
It's almost like I wish they had more emphasis on how powerful Frank was, as like, because they referenced it a couple times how like the Italians like always pay attention to him now, or like, you know, they talk about how he has the better seats at the boxing ring and that kind of thing. And then there's I want to say it's a guy that's like a federal agent or something, and he uses some very mean words to basically say like no black man could actually like be this powerful in the whole solution. And I wish they kind of like emphasize that maybe a little bit more, just like how exactly far he had risen above everyone else in the landscape of things. And maybe how much, Richie taking him out actually meant. Because like it is like, if we talk about it as kind of like a biopic in some ways, like it does feel like we kind of don't quite live up to expectations there in some ways overall. I don't know. Maybe that's just wishful thinking overall. Like you said, it is a little bit of a long movie as it is.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because they do bring up that point. It's kind of touched on early on, and then it's definitely touched on that scene you're talking about where like there's no way a black guy could do this, like that kind of thing. And that's not really played out so much throughout the rest of the movie, and it definitely could have played on a little bit more than it was. Because also think about it, I mean, this movie starts in '68, and then it's through to what, 74, 75. When does Vietnam end? 75 when we pull out.
Yeah,
around there, yeah. But in civil rights terms, that's nothing. Like 1964, the Civil Rights Act just happened. So they don't touch on that quite as much as I think they could have. I think that's definitely a good point. Trying to think of other big points. It's a long movie, so it's hard to pick out like one or two things.
Right.
But at the end of it, it's kind of all just thrown in together.
Yeah, it's like
there's
Go ahead, Blake. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll try to jump in quickly. So yeah, I think the most interesting part to me upon a rewatch is kind of how Nathaniel said, kind of two sides of the same coin, right? Where Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington, they're basically opposites of each other. Where like one's like a great like family person and like doing shitty like work, right? Obviously illegal wrongdoings. And Russell Crowe is the like lone stand-up cop in New York City, for lack of a better term, right? But then just like a shitty person in his marriage and plays children. So it's really interesting to kind of see that dynamic and how they kind of play that story back and forth off each other until the lead up where they sit down, as Adam mentioned, in that interrogation scene. So I think that's one of the huge honing in points from my perspective is just the duality as a man, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think that's something that Ridley's building, the whole time, like even beyond just the obviously family and kind of like loyalty dynamic on there, but just them as people as well too, with Russell being kind of like wild, drinking, carousing, sleeping around kind of thing, and Denzel, the consummate family man, very regimented, very this is what I do during the week, and that is how you will never catch me, is because I'm never talking to the bad people of the organization or anything like that. I'm just outside all of this together, and you don't see me in the big fur coat at the boxing match or anything like that, acting crazy. I'm completely behind the scenes and that kind of thing. But I will say it's interesting, like too, like the areas that this movie chooses to like exercise its length in, kind of like, and by that I mean like we have these trips with Frank Lucas's character to Thailand twice that really probably didn't need to be in the movie overall. Like if you were saying like we need to cut parts out of this movie or something like that.
Right.
And then you have kind of like the Russell Crowe side character first partner kind of thing and then you get kind of like his new unit and everything like that as well too. And I think it's interesting the areas that this movie chooses to kind of like make those choices of where to exercise its length, in that they are character building moments. We find how Frank operates out where he's not comfortable, and it seems like he just kind of like barrels on and that kind of thing. And he has kind of like that relationship with the Thai, or the foreign, I want to say, general there, who as well too, who's like
he was Vietnamese.
Yeah, no? Viet Cong maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but he's like,
I don't exactly,
he says like,
I think he was in Vietnam, was he?
Yeah, he says no, Bangkok's Thailand.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
wait, yeah, it is, isn't it? Then you're right, probably right. I have no idea.
But he's says like, quitting while you're ahead isn't quitting, and that kind of thing. And I think it's interesting that we kind of get those little bit of outside perspectives as well too, or even that they go to tie in like the Josh Brolin character, as well as like the Russell Crowe's like childhood friend who's also in the mob, basically.
Right.
Again, each one kind of adding depth on there as well too, which the Josh Brolin character I think is really interesting, where he's just the true scumbag overall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Poor Josh Brolin, dude. What's a movie where he plays like a good guy? I feel like I only see him in bad guy roles, and he's so good at it. But like, is he a good guy in anything?
I mean, technically speaking, Sicario, kind of.
Oh man, that
right?
is.
But I guess
he's thin ice. Thin ice that you're putting him on.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, there's a goal, right, of trying to stop the cartel.
All right, hold on. We're gonna find.
I guess he's kind of a good guy in Dune.
Well, No Country.
No Country's kind of good guy.
He's just the main character.
Dune's probably
Dune's definitely the better
answer.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, Dune's Gurney Halleck, definitely a good guy. Yeah, he's on the good side. Okay. So I take it back. He's not always bad. But man, he does make a good bad guy. He's really good in this. He's really, really good in this.
He's also one that he's also one that I forgot was in this as well. That just shows you how in this, right? Mm-hmm. Where I was like, oh shit, I forgot he's in this. And real quick, while I got you guys here on this delay, we talked about kind of some of the iconic scenes, and the one I always remember this. Can anyone take a stab at what they think it is?
Oh, the one that you quote? Like, you said that earlier.
It's pretty easy. I guess I want to know what Adam thinks it is. It's his first watch. Can you take a stab at what you think it is?
No. Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Nathaniel, do you have an idea? Nathaniel, Ty, have an idea of what we think it is?
What your like iconic scene is out of this movie?
Or just the thing that's turned into like a meme?
I guess probably the most iconic scene, or kind of the one that I've always remembered, and I think most people do, is when you think of this film.
I was gonna say either the "my man" like bit, like that, like Denzel saying "my man" is that's just like that's it. That is the one thing I will take away from this movie. But like iconic scene, the one I always think of is the Idris Elba sugar bowl scene. That's my 20% or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, "What are you gonna shoot me in front of everybody?"
Yeah,
or something like that. The famous last words, right?
Yeah. Dude, he just fucking drills him.
Yeah. So actually, the Idris Elba one is it was more so, and I'm surprised no one pulled it up. But it's the scene where they kind of have, I don't want to call it like a cocktail party, kind of like whatever's going on, and they get into his brother. Yeah, his brother and somebody else get into kind of a disagreement. And he shoots the guy, right?
Yeah.
And then it go through it, and then Giselle's kind of banging his head on the piano. But then it cuts back to when he goes to like the butler who's cleaning it up. And he's like, "Hey, you don't scrub it." He's like, "You block that shit. That's $25,000 alpaca or something like that." And that makes me laugh every time. Like I forever remember, like, if you ever clean an alpaca, you gotta blot it.
Blot it.
So,
that is good. There's one that sticks out for me is how he says ambulance in the beginning of the movie. He goes ambulance.
Call an ambulance. The driver.
Yeah, that's funny.
Talking about the depth of this movie, the driver in that scene, the one that shoots him in the leg, who later becomes the informant and wears the wire, is he's like the lead detective in the first season of Reacher on Amazon Prime. So,
is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. As well as the best friend on Russell Crowe's like godfather to his kid or whatever. I will always remember him as the Russian guy at the beginning of The Dark Knight, just because that scene would always play at Best Buy where like the dogs attack him.
Oh yeah,
that guy.
Yeah. That's the same guy.
Funny. Okay.
And I've just memorized his face at this point. Anyways, this movie's pretty cool.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. There was one thing we mentioned, the coat that he wears to the boxing fight. And I do think that was like an interesting kind of plot point where it's like he says it himself, like the loudest person in the room is the dumbest one in the room, and that's why he dresses just so business, so he goes unnoticed and stays out of everything. And the one night that he goes out and wears something flashy is the one night that he kind of gets tagged as like, what's that guy up to?
Okay, but
so interesting little storytelling device that I liked there.
And here's my thing. At the end of the day, like as good as this movie is, and like it is very, very good, but like The Wire's better, and it's like so much of the same like territory.
For sure.
It is. Like there's so much similarities and so much like crossover. I think like just watch the first season of The Wire as well too. You even get more Idris Elba.
Does he get shot in the face a lot?
No, not at all.
Oh, wow. All right.
That's why I say you get more of him. He's there for longer.
I feel you on that, though, Nathaniel. Yeah. The Idris Elba one is makes it like, really easy to have the connection.
I guess like I just feel like it's a very similar story overall that they're going for, particularly of like as Frank Lucas as a member of like the Black community and like how far they got in organized crime or like up the scale of power as well too, in comparison. And that I guess that's the other thing that we haven't really talked about much on this one is like the reveal that this just burned a ton of New York cops as well too, who were all on apparently on the tech. So I mean, maybe that is even more of like the bigger takeaway from this overall is that like it does like to your point earlier, like, well, what does it hurt to take a couple bucks and do this kind of thing? Like, well, it can just burn through whole communities and that kind of thing overall.
Yeah, I will say I think this movie could have done a better job, but still does a good job of this. Of like, there are some shots and some I wouldn't say montages, but some cut betweens. I don't know what you call that device, Nathaniel, where it's like showing one thing but then also cutting to another at the same time. But it's I don't know how to. Anyway,
parallel storytelling.
Yeah, there you go. Parallel actions, parallel cuts, whatever it is. Where like there are a few things where it's like they're showing this kind of lavish life that Frank Lucas is now leading, while also cutting to the overdosed mom whose baby is crying right there, or like showing all this drug use that's like tearing people apart and tearing this town apart. And I think they could have shown more of that, and it would have been a little bit more effective at like showing you like he's actually not a good person. Like what he's doing is actually really bad. And it's not that they glorify his drug dealing or anything, but they definitely could have, leaned a little bit more Requiem, like show me the bad parts of that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then kind of contrast it and kind of give you an idea of like, oh, this,
these are the
Frank
consequences.
Lucas is not right. Exactly. And like, you kind of only see the good parts of it, and they only show you like all of his family wanting to be like him because he's gotten so wealthy, but like you don't see, and they again they show it, but I think they could have played it up more and it would have played to a greater effect if you kind of see more of like what the side effects are of everything that he's done.
I agree. I think that's so. Yeah, I guess I kind of deep inhale.
Yeah, Nathaniel for audio listeners, which is all of our listeners. Nathaniel did take a breath for a second, paused. I thought he was going to rebuttal, and then he just gives me that. So
no, yeah, I'm with you 100% overall.
All right. Any other big points we want to make here?
I think it's a uniformly pretty good performance by all of the cast as well, on both sides. I think everyone's kind of, give it their A game. I think it's really well edited, as we've kind of like referenced with the kind of switching between the two characters and everything like that to kind of, again, you even look at the poster of this one and it's got like both Denzel and Russell in kind of like negative, contrast to each other as well too. So like it's really building this idea of what is the American gangster, and how different are they from each other really, and or how can you really make one statement on how one way of life is immoral and one isn't, or anything like that. So it's I think it's really good. I think it's still a 3.5 out of 5 for me, to bring it back to my original point earlier.
I think that's pretty fair overall. All right. Well, I'm good to get out of spoilers if you guys are. Let's get her upon. Yeah.
I will say one last thing. I think this is my first exposure to the trope of naked ladies making the drugs in in one room, and I'm curious if how early on in this, because I feel like I've seen it so many times after then, that scene of we're in a drug factory, all of the people there are naked so that we can have boobs and make this an R-rated film, or we can push the edge on this movie. And I'm curious if this is how early back this idea goes. This is 2007.
Oh man.
I want to say this is the first time I remember ever seeing it.
It's got to be up there for one of the first films to kind of take that initiative, for sure.
But we'll keep you updated, Back Row listeners. Maybe this will be a side bet that we have going on.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. I can't think of any other movies, at least, that
right. But
before 2007.
But the trope. I feel like I've seen it 50 times since then. Anytime there's there's a movie with drugs in it now, you always have that little scene at the manufacturer's place.
Right. Always some topless women cutting up drugs,
Right. So they can't steal anything.
Right. At least that's what they say. All right, well, Nathaniel, why don't you research that and get back to us next week, huh?
Yeah, all right. I'll keep that up there. I'll get all
just Google search topless women in drug agencies.
All right.
I'll get you where you gotta get.
I'll put that in the Google search, and I'll also get our best Back Row Banter interns on it.
Yeah, please do.
Send out the junior reporters.
Make sure you use this episode sponsored NordVPN when making those Google searches, because someone might flag you.
I'm in an apartment building; they'll never know where I'm from.
Okay, right.
Yeah, right.
I wish we were sponsored by NordVPN. Anyway, welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and throw up American Gangster up upon our Entropy list. This is, of course, our big list of all the movies we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. It's essentially our rating system. If you want to view the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd. This will be... I did put in Napoleon Dynamite.
Wow.
I did remember to do that. I did listen to last week's episode. It was nice,
feel?
It was good. it was a good time. It was nice having the other side, listening in.
Yeah, just being able to be a normal listener and then just enjoy the
you get some honest
the triumvirate.
Right, you get an honest look, it's good on the other side. All right, but anyway, yes, I did put in Napoleon Dynamite. This is going to be entry 176 on the entry list, so that's kind of your frame of reference here for
what's our Ridley on here. We got Napoleon, right?
We got Napoleon is our most recent.
Pretty high, man.
We have from him,
and then we also got Last Duel too.
Alien.
That's Ridley right. too, right? Yep.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we got Last Duel, Napoleon. You said Alien, right? Where does Alien at?
Yeah, and this.
Damn, Napoleon's at 113?
9, 10, 11, 12.
That's lower than I thought.
9 is 11. 9 is at 11. That is really high. What'd you say is at 13?
Or you mean Alien's 11?
No, I'm sorry. No.
Alien is 11.
Napoleon is at 113. I was way lower than I thought it was. Then we got Last Duel at 102. To be down there,
let's be honest, though. Oh, wow. That's criminal. I can't believe Last Duel is that high.
You're such a Last Duel hater. It's so interesting.
I am, and I'm going to stay a Last Duel hater.
I don't know how I feel about this.
The movie is unenjoyable.
Let this be known, listeners, that Adam and I have beef on this.
And we will continue. I will not back down. Last Duel is not a good movie.
Disagree.
Okay. I'm going to start coming after Knight's Tale. We'll make it personal.
All right. Well, I mean, Whiplash is out there for the fucking for the taking. All right. Anyways,
real quick.
anyways, so Ridley is all over the place, is what we're saying.
He's all over the board.
I mean, let the man cook.
Let him cook. Let him cook. I can go kind of high with this. I'm looking maybe higher than a few other people. You know what? Yeah, I've got a good spot.
Go for it.
Let's put it.
Going?
Let's put it above The Last Duel at 102, below Conjuring 2. Conjuring 2, I think, has sank lower than it maybe should. I think Conjuring 2 is actually is closer to the original's quality, like the OG Conjuring's quality, than I think we may misremember. But Conjuring 2 is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. Last Duel is not. And so the things above Conjuring 2 as well, I really love Strangers. Frozen is, it's Frozen. It's solid. Halloween 2018, Last Night in Soho, The Menu, X, like all very solid movies, and I think this kind of fits in that realm of like I could put these on and I'd have a good time. Last Duel, I would not have a good time. And a few of the movies below Last Duel, I would kind of agree with. Where like it's kind of where it goes a little shaky for me on whether I want to put them on or not. Not every single one below Last Duel, but Last Duel is out of place. I actually might use my next back row movement thing on Last Duel. Now that you got me kind of stirred up on the topic.
You crazy. But I think I'm gonna put it actually at 118, right below The Notebook, right above Tenet.
Good spot as well. Respectable spot. Any particular reason?
No, because like I think I like The Last Duel, so like there's a lot of good movies around there as well too. So I don't know. I don't think I got it above Top Gun. I don't think I got it above Insidious. I don't think I have it above Evil Dead Rise, which is a movie I actually enjoy. The Notebook, super fun. Tenet, I need to watch again. And that's where I kind of get
back in theaters.
I think American Gangster is better than Straight Outta Compton. I think it's better than Last Voyage of the Demeter and The Blackening. I think it's better than Blind Spotting. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on it. Like I said, that like epitome of 3.5 out of 5 movies. I think anything above that would be more than that rating. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
The Notebook's got me. The Notebook is the one where I'm like, I'd definitely put the Notebook above this
Interesting.
one. But everything else below my ranking. I'm still sticking with 102.
You know where you're going, Blake? Or you want me to go?
Go ahead. You can rip it.
Okay. I'm gonna be a bit higher than you guys, and I was struggling to kind of put it higher because I think it actually deserves to go a little bit higher than some of the movies we have up there. But I am actually going to be at 75.
Wow.
Just under Terminator.
Ooh, okay.
Just under Terminator and above Dr. Sleep.
Like I said, I do think that this is this has the classic or iconic kind of like tagline on it. I think it deserves that. And like I said, for me, especially with the Atom, it's just been around longer for me. And I think it is better than some of the movies that we have in between where you guys are at. And like I said, I think this is still a super, super solid movie with really good acting, really good cuts. It's a good film altogether. And yeah. So yeah, I'm at 75.
I get it. I get the choice.
You make a compelling case.
Yeah.
Blake.
I like Ty's ranking. I'm a little higher than Nathaniel and Abby. I was kind of looking at this, and immediately I went to, I was like, okay, do I like this better than the other film that has American in it? And that's American Psycho, and the answer is absolutely. So, right. So then I'm like, all right, like where are we working to? And then you like run into that 70 range that Tyler's talking about, like the Tokyo Drift, the Bullet Trains, the Will Hunting, kind of Forever. Then I'm kind of like, all right. I mean, I think that's about fair with kind of what we're looking at. The Gentleman's at 68. So I'm kind of like, all right, like I think that's a good place. Then I'm kind of dabbling around down to the 80 range and seeing Blade and whatnot. But I think I'd probably stick it. I think I'd ultimately stick it at. I think I would go 81, so above Nightmare Alley, below District 9. I think District 9 is quiet as kept, almost like a modern sci-fi masterpiece. District 9 is awesome. That's one that's kind of fell in its rumblings a little bit.
Here's the thing about the Entropy list. There's bangers left and right, and like again, none of us none of us agree on the order of this list. So like both of those movies, I'm like, I agree with where you're putting it. Like at a certain point, there's I could see your argument, right? And this is what the Entropy list is all about. Is just throwing it on there and see where it ranks. Speaking of which, Adam, where the fuck is this coming up?
A very convenient and easy 94, gentlemen. Around 94, which puts it below A Quiet Place and above Prey 2022. A spot that I initially was going to put my ranking until I saw a few of the movies below Prey, and I was like, I got to put it below those.
I like it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good even spot. 94. I like it.
Top 100, which again, we've talked multiple times about it on this podcast at this point. That it's a murderer's row, that 100 or so.
Mm-hmm.
We don't watch bad movies, folks.
We truly don't. We put you through good experiences here on Back Row Banter. So hopefully you stay listening. All right, well 94 it is, gents, for American Gangster. I was looking at the show schedule, and we don't have much here, gentlemen, for next week. I thought it was Bob Marley, the what is it called? Bob Marley One Love. That is the week after. So a bit of sizzle there. Look forward to that.
We talked about New Jack City last week. I know Blake brought that up at some point, but if
New Jack City, I can't say I'm familiar.
There's other ones out there.
That's the only way I can describe
Snipes,
New Jack City.
Ice-T, Chris Rock. Holy shit! It's on TV.
Or not yesterday, last week. Pardon me. Yeah. So have you seen the meme of Wesley Snipes, Adam, and he's holding a gun?
I see the frame. I see the frame right now. Yes. Yeah. No. Okay.
Yeah. That's the only way I can describe New Jack City.
I recognize it.
It's that movie though.
Me when I have to kill Tony Hawk in the race war. It's the meme I always think of.
Which is an all-time great meme. All-time great meme because Tony Hawk is...
And then Tony Hawk's
inarguably top 3 white males of all time. Sure.
He responded with, I appreciate the hesitation, though.
Yeah, Tony Hawk, great guy.
That is good.
Did you guys see as well, too, that I guess Tony Hawk's kid and Kurt Cobain's daughter got married like last week too, and someone was like, they can now create the coolest white person out there. It's like hard to argue with, to be honest with you.
Dude, they just might.
That's pretty funny for sure.
That baby's destined for great things.
I mean, yeah. He's our great hope. That's all we got left.
Yeah.
He or she, I should say.
Why don't we figure this out post-pod? And then I will have post-pod Adam come in right now. What's going on, listeners? It's your favorite host, post-pod Adam here, coming at you with an update on what we're watching next week. So after some deliberation, we landed on the movie Sorry to Bother You, the Lakeith Stanfield joint from 2018. That is currently streaming on Amazon Prime Video, so if you have that, you can go watch it there. If not, it is available for streaming on all of those other services. So go ahead, check out Sorry to Bother You, and if it's not too much of a bother, join us next week for our review. Wow, what a great pick, guys! I'm so excited to watch that. I hope you are too, listeners. Thanks, Postpod Adam. All right, it's late here. Do we want to do a round of what we're watching, or we just want to call it? We're running a little long on time, on episode-wise. Anyway, we could probably just push to next week. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm cool with it only because I literally have to get up at like
I have to get up early too. So
let's get out.
All right, let's just move on out of here, shall we? Nathaniel, any 5-star reviews?
No 5-star reviews. Let's keep it rolling.
I'm gonna check the pod the pod email just so I know Ryan Foley didn't.
No emails. Let's keep it rolling.
Right. All right. Let's see. What do we do here next? Make sure you follow the podcast, of course. You can follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and our YouTube is just Back Row Banter. While you're doing that, also share the podcast with a friend, a family member, or a gang member. If you're in a gang, I suggest you reconsider, but also spread the word.
Share the podcast before you leave.
Yeah. Let them know.
Exactly. Yeah, let them know. Let's see. Let's move. Is that it for show plugs? Yeah, it is. Let's kick it to Nathaniel. Nathaniel, where can the people find you at, my man?
Twitter and Letterboxd and X at NS Gingrich, and Instagram Nathaniel G92. Tyler?
Instagram, Letterboxd, and what's the other one?
X.
Oh yeah, X, dude.
Twitter.
Yeah. Bet. Let's go X.
Twitter X. I heard Mark Cuban in an interview call it Twitter X, and I think that's what I'm going to go with from now on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that's all. Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES. Blake?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder, be on there logging some things, rating them out of 5 stars. BlakeHolder will be on there. PSN, Xbox, Mr. Watercooler's Instagram, Mr. Watercooler will be on there as well. I think I'm gonna start picking back MK potentially. We'll see. But
hell yeah.
That's all we got.
Cool. I think that leaves myself, and I. You can find me on Letterboxd at H, where I have been up to date. I got to put in this movie and Argyle, but I logged Napoleon Dynamite. I'm backlogged for roughly the last 3 years of my life. So catch me there. And then you can also find me on Twitter at H24, where I tweet from time to time. Not often though, but follow me anyway. I think that's gonna do it here for episode 179. Thank you all for listening, especially if you made it this far into the episode. You're my favorite type of listener, and we really do appreciate it. Join us for our review of blank movie, whatever movie that was, that Postbot Adam told you to watch. It's in the episode description. Join us for that next week. We'll BRB.
for another lesson.
Yeah, I'll probably be rooting for the Chiefs.
Ugh.
It's not like the Niners are much better, dude. Yeah, they haven't won recently, but they've still won a shit ton. Aren't they the most winningest franchise?
Whatever. I don't care. I fucking hate.
Like,
I fucking hate the Chiefs.
I don't mind the Chiefs just because I had to deal with them in college, so it was kind of just root for them or be ostracized. So
I'll take it.
it's not like I had that much of a commitment to the Bears, and they don't play in the same division, so it's not like
I wouldn't have commitment to them either.
Yeah, it's hard to do that.
Did they sell off their first round draft pick yet?
No, but they'll probably do some dumb shit and like just like trade down for like 2 picks or something.
I like the 49ers. They were the closest to my hometown in California.
Oh, well, there you go.
And I think they were saying today that the Schefter reported that the idea is that the Bears will take Williams.
I really hope that's not the case because I like Justin Fields.
Well,
and I don't think Caleb Williams is going to do much. So that is unfortunate.
Something about a contract that like you can reset the clock on a rookie contract. Something like that. I don't know. Saw the headline. Didn't read much past that.
I don't know, bro. Bears are screwed. I don't care. Honestly, no matter what they do, I'm just not going to be happy for a long time.
Like, not with that attitude.
Like. Well, I don't have any optimism towards them, dude. They just suck. And all they do is suck.
You sound like a Browns fan.
You are lucky you have no affiliation to any Chicago sports teams, Nathaniel.
It is
You're
nice.
Very privileged.
It is nice, I'll be honest. I'm a lucky man.
You are.
I think it's just I'm lucky that I don't have an affiliation with an NFL team in general, to be honest with you. Like,
well, apparently you're a big Niners fan.
I mean, I like them.
No,
the same way that you're a Chiefs fan, bitch. To be honest, I spent 6 years in California. How long were you in Missouri? So,
just under 4 total actual years.
Yeah, native son, motherfucker. Yeah, I don't know. It's. I think that's NFL in particular. I don't feel like people are that aggressive with MLB. Maybe NBA.
I'm that aggressive with the Cubs.
I mean, Diamondbacks will always be my team. That's just how it is. But I like the Cubs.
I mean, I feel like everyone's got that sport where it's like, I don't know, at least that one team. Like, yeah, Chicago's are my teams, but the Cubs are the only one I have like true affiliation to where like I will never root for anyone else. Whereas like NBA, like, Bulls suck. All right, cool. Let's root for the Kings. NFL.
I don't know.
Bulls,
maybe
Bears suck. Like, Chiefs are good, and I'm in a place with a lot of Chiefs fans. Like,
but then again, like growing up with like my cousin and my uncle in professional baseball, like that was in like not for the Diamondbacks. So it was kind of like, okay, well, I'm not gonna root against them too. So like I feel like I was conditioned young to just appreciate baseball all over.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Diamondbacks are still my team.